Hello and welcome to the Lund University International Podcast. On the show, you'll hear from current students, alumni, researchers, professors, and many more special guests as we explore what it's really like to live, study, and work at Lund University in Sweden, a world top 100 university. My name is Tim Parker, and I am an International Communications Officer at External Relations. Today, we're diving into a topic that's close to many students' hearts: secondhand shopping in Sweden. From vintage treasures to sustainable bargains, secondhand shopping is not just a practical choice. It's a way to live stylishly, sustainably, and affordably. Here in Lund and the surrounding region, students are spoiled for choice, with thrift shops, flea markets, and online platforms that make it easy to find unique pieces while staying budget conscious. Joining us today are two international students who've mastered the art of thrifting in Sweden. Let's hear their tips, stories, and favorite finds. Welcome into the studio, Megan and Bénédicte.
Hello everyone, hi Tim.
Thanks for coming in, and you've both been on pods before.
Yes.
But just for our listeners who haven't been introduced to you, please let us know where you're from and what you're studying.
Yes, so I'm Bénédicte and I'm from Mauritius, and I studied the master's program in development studies, which I completed this year. Last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'm Meg. I'm from Seattle, USA, and I am in my second year of a master's in applied cultural analysis.
Nice. Well, I'm very excited to have you both here. Let's go straight into it. I really want to hear, first of all, what are some memorable finds you've discovered while thrifting? Like, what are some of your favorite things that you've got here in Sweden?
Ooh. Yes, since I came to Sweden like 2 years ago, so a bit before you, Meg, I can start saying that my suitcase was filled with Mauritian winter clothing, so very not used to or adapted to the Swedish weather. And I needed to, I knew at some point I needed to get clothes that would fit the winter coming, the autumn, different seasons basically. So I didn't really know where to start looking, and quickly I heard about thrift shopping or secondhand shopping. And I was like, wow, I've never had that in Mauritius. Well, not in an organized or fishy way.
Yeah.
Of course, like you would have your, let's say, your aunt or your grandmother giving you things that don't fit anymore. And that's a sort of secondhand clothing, but it's not, the systematic way of doing shopping.
Yeah.
So that was a really like a discovery here, coming here. So I remember coming in August. It was still summer, you're in shorts.
Yeah. You don't know what's about to hit.
Exactly. And then comes October, autumn, it gets a bit colder. So then I start going to some shops in Malmö, actually. And there's a big one, if we can give names.
Go for it.
There's a big one called Björk.
Björk och Frihet. Yeah, that's my favorite. Love that
And
place.
that one is like a shopping mall,
Yeah.
but again, my Mauritian standards.
Yeah.
But you have everything from winter jackets to rain jackets for summer.
Did you get yourself something nice?
Exactly. So I got all my winter clothing there. And that was 2 years ago. And most of it I still use today.
Yeah.
And then you have some like sweaters if you want to layer. Because you don't want to just have, one big coat.
No, that's the secret here. It's all about the layers. Yeah.
Exactly. So that was one shopping, one day, or like let's say a week of it. And just the whole wardrobe for a winter season.
It's so funny. Have you noticed? Because I think especially Scandinavians have this stereotype of, only dressing in like kind of dark muted colors. And the place that I see that completely get thrown out the window is in their winter gear.
Yeah.
And Björk och Frihet is so great because they have so much vintage ski gear. And so I actually got my favorite find from there as well. I like for my whole life, even though I'm not a skier, gone once, didn't hit any trees, but we'll see next time. I've always wanted like a full suit, like the one-piece snowsuit.
Yeah.
And I found one at Björk och Frihet for 100 crowns on sale in red, white, and blue. So
There we go.
And for our listeners who are not familiar with Swedish currency, how much is 100 Swedish crowns?
That's about like €9 or $10. So I just, the things that you find at the thrift shops here, you would never find in the States because some reseller from Depop would have come through and taken it all and sold it for like, I would have had to pay $100 for that easily.
I mean, in my experience, I think what works with a model, if we want to talk economics, is that like it works with donations basically. So people, something doesn't fit on them anymore. And instead of just throwing it away, they just think, let's go to this clothes bank.
Yeah.
and give it to someone who might need it, especially international students who, let's say, sometimes they're here for 1 year or 2 years. They won't find any use of it in Mauritius. Let's just, donate it. And of course, against a certain fee or currency.
And I've also noticed, like, the Swedes take really good care of their things. Like, the clothes that you find at the thrift stores, maybe they have, like, a little snag or a hole. In the States, it's, like, sorting through trash when you're looking for something. But here, like, there's obvious care. Even the things that are my mother's age, I'm like, oh, my gosh, this could be, something that I bought last month new. Like, it's very well taken care of.
Yeah. For me, what surprised me was perhaps the quality of the material itself. So let's say a piece of clothing, maybe a coat would be, let's say, 1,000 crowns when you buy new, but it still stays good for a very long time. But then it's just, let's say, if it doesn't fit the user, then you have no other choice than just giving it away.
Yeah.
And that's how us international students, or like beneficiaries, can, make use of it. So, yeah.
And there's more than just clothes, too. Like, there's so much to be found at thrift stores. And that's, like, definitely, especially, like you mentioned, a lot of people here are on exchange. Thrift stores are the first place you go because you're not, obviously we have IKEA. We're in the land of IKEA. But, like, if you can go buy something used, you might as well. Like, sustainability is a very big part of Swedish culture. And so even the Swedes, I find, try to shop secondhand when they move here.
Exactly. So it's not just me and Megan just going on our free time. It's the shops are full. It's everyone. And yeah, it's just...
Last week I found, I think this episode's going to come out a little later, but it's almost Christmas here. And the Swedes have something called a julbock, which is just like a little straw goat, basically, that they put under their tree. And I love goats, so I get one every year. And I bought one last year for like 50 crowns, $5, like a big old boy. And I live in a 25 square meter apartment, so I could not store him over the rest of the year. So I bought him from a thrift store. I used him, and then I took him back to the thrift store. And now I found an even smaller one that I can hopefully keep. And like, I got these little china plates that have shrimp on them. Like, they're like a Asiatic sort of shrimp design. And I was like, you know what? They're 10 crowns. They're like $1 each. That's going to be my sushi plates. Yeah. Like, just little things that bring you joy that you're like, how could anybody let these go?
And on top of all those benefits, like most secondhand shops are designed on a concept where you donate clothes, a customer buys something, and some of the benefits go to a charity or some further organization. So it's just you're doing good at every stage of a work process, I think.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And there's definitely, like, again, that culture of sustainability. I think sometimes back home it's kind of like, oh, you bought that secondhand, but here it's like, oh my gosh, what a great find. And it's like that with everything. Like with furniture, there's companies even in Malmö where you can borrow used furniture for a year. They'll bring it to you, you use it, and then they ship it back. Like, and it's maybe $100 for a year rental, something like that.
Yeah.
So there's definitely that culture of like, we're going to keep things in good shape, and then we're going to get as much use of them as possible to really enjoy.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's really quite easy to find affordable and stylish options when you're secondhand shopping as an international student.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I can say, because it's basically other people who had style once and
now we're stealing that style.
We're getting inspired, because for me, I'm not one of those people who would take time, thinking what style we did best with the season.
Yeah.
So I just go inside a secondhand shop and I see, okay, let's see the colors, or let's see the ways the clothes are being set up in the shop, and let's get inspiration from that, basically.
Yeah.
So it's more than just, producing the same piece of clothing in different sizes, but the same, model for 20, 30 pieces in a factory or in a normal shop. So it's more, I don't know, human,
I almost regret like buying some of the pieces that I did before I came to Sweden, because I was like, all right, I'm moving to Sweden. I need to get like a Fjällräven backpack. I spent like my $110 on my little tiny backpack. And then I come here and you see people posting them on Facebook Marketplace for like $40. They're in really good condition, things like that. Or even I'm Christmas shopping right now for my family. And I don't know if this exists back in the States, but here they're kind of like Depop, Poshmark reseller app is called Vinted.
Yeah, okay.
I live for Vinted. I love Vinted. I spend copious amounts of time scrolling on Vinted, but I found like an Estonian made, I'm going to Estonia next weekend, and I was looking for a sweater for my sister-in-law.
Huh?
I found one on Vinted, brand new with tags for like 400 crowns. So I was like, okay, gonna take that and tell her I got it in Estonia. And then like Dale of Norway is a really, really iconic brand, obviously from Norway. And it kind of like made its rounds in the States back in like the 80s or 90s as a really good ski brand. But it's expensive. It's like $350 for a new sweater.
Mm-hmm.
I found one in my mom's size, vintage, for like $60, which is a lot for a student. But when you think about it as an investment piece, like someday when she gets tired of this sweater, it's going to be mine again, you know? So like, being able to not only access that, but in Sweden, you can access like through Vinted, Denmark, Poland, Finland, Norway, and the rest of like northern Sweden for secondhand shopping basically through this app.
I mean, I'm learning something with you because, of course, I've heard of Vinted, but only, while watching TV in Mauritius or like French TV or like on movies.
Yeah.
So nothing of a personal experience that I came through. So for me, when I hear secondhand shopping, I just think convenience because it has been used by someone else, because it is secondhand, it will be cheaper than its original price. So as a student, I think we should emphasize on that. It really is cheaper than going to, let's say, a store and buying a coat for the first time. You do make I won't say profits, but you do save some money on that. Absolutely.
Back home, some of the thrift stores are getting greedy. Like, like an H&M scarf that you would buy at H&M for $16 and they put it up for $17 and you're like, are you kidding me right now? But here it is not the case. Like you can get a deal.
Yeah.
Nice. And you already mentioned some online platforms. Fantastic. I just want to note that, it's really, really awesome to share every and all platform in place, but it's not an official endorsement from Lund University. Just so our listeners know, but
this is a Meg endorsement.
An opinion of a guest, which is a very, very top tip.
Yeah.
What about physical stores in Lund, in Malmo, and the surrounding region? Maybe even as far as Copenhagen.
Yeah.
In Lund, I can think of two. There's Emmaus, which is, so the university, when you come here, the university is quite widespread, I would say. And then you have a city center. And down that main street, you have one secondhand shop, if not two.
Two? Yeah.
Exactly. Emmaus and the second one?
Erikshjälpen.
Yes. And Erikshjälpen is a nice story because it's basically, in Swedish, it means Eric's help.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure of the original story, but there's something with the idea that it started as a charity organization and all the benefits of the store goes to that's the charity work.
Yeah.
So you really are doing good when you shop, and especially when you donate something. As you were saying, let's say you bought something wherever in Sweden or in Mauritius, and you want to give it to a charity organization. That's a fantastic way of doing, because then you know for sure that it's a systemized way of providing something to the society.
Yeah.
And you know that you will find people who will use it properly.
And at Erikshjälpen, there's two locations. There's a smaller one downtown, which is closer to the university. And then there's one a little bit on the outskirts, but still easy bus right away. And it's like the big Erikshjälpen. So big that they even have like a cafe inside of it. And it's like run by volunteers, which is just so Swedish and I love it. But yeah, like both of those are super easily accessible. And I have never had a time like when I've needed something. The other day, I needed to dress up as a lobster for like a Halloween party.
Yes.
So I was like, all right, Erikshjälpen, come, bless up. And they did. They provided an 80 crown, like $8 bright red dress that was perfect.
So I can... Actually, I'm thinking of a story of Erikshjälpen again, because it's quite a big store in Lund. It's not as big as the one on the outskirts of Lund, but still it's quite, you can find a lot of things. And I think I moved to a new accommodation at the beginning of last year, and I needed basically to furnish it.
Yeah.
So I bought like a table, which was like 150 crowns, a chair. Basically, I got a few things. And then I realized, in case there's no... Well, there's if you know on the wall, there's this outlet for your Wi-Fi or your net modem or your box.
Your tech. Yeah.
And I knew exactly the cable I needed, but I couldn't explain that in Swedish, of course. But I tried to explain like internet, intranet, keywords. And the guy looks at me and I'm like, okay, let me look at the store room.
Yeah.
So he goes downstairs and he gives me a super odd cable, and I just look at the endings, and for me it fits. And I ask, okay, for how much? And he's like, okay, just give me 5 crowns. I'm like, great, because if I was going to an actual tech shop, I would have paid maybe 200 crowns just for something new, something nice. which will work for sure, but you can also use something that has already been used and which is still, works fine.
Yep.
So that was, it was a great way of, you knew that you were not putting new materials in society from a sustainable perspective, of course.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Oh, I can't wait to move into a bigger apartment because even now, like I spend a lot of time, for example, on Facebook Marketplace, which is very widely used here. Also just a Meg endorsement and not a Lund University endorsement. And yeah, people will post really nice things. Like I've been trying, because I live in LU accommodation and so it's already furnished, but I've been trying to make it more homey. And like I found, even IKEA rugs. Sure, it's great to save the money, but it's also really nice to know that, like, it's not the best quality rug. So when I move into my forever home, it's not going to be something that comes with me. And I would feel kind of bad, putting another rug out into the world if it's like something that's not going to be with me forever. So it's like, it's nice that I found the exact rug that I wanted for cheap that I can keep for my 2 or 3 years or whatever. And then I can give it to the next student. Yeah. Or I can go sell it on Facebook Marketplace, make a little bit of money back, and then put that toward my forever rug. So
yeah. And I can say another thing. We talked about like Lund, there's these 2 big names. In Malmö, there are even more names. So you have like Humana, Mirona, which means the ants. So I love the story. It's like the small ants of society working together and bringing something bigger to the world. So I think Humana, for example, would be one where if you're looking stylish, this is the place to be. And in most of those places, you will have student discounts, actually. So that's the beauty of it. So you can show your student card or your... an app which signifies that you're a student, and they would just give you 10% discount or something. So, wow. Yeah.
And then Tim mentioned Copenhagen. If you do move here, just be aware the Danish crown is a little bit stronger. So if you currently. So if you choose to shop in Copenhagen, it can be a little bit pricier. But I've noticed the Copenhagen, I wouldn't even call them thrift shops. They're more vintage stores. Like they're curated. They're absolutely gorgeous. You're paying a little bit more for the pieces, but a lot of them they found and they've restored them. So they're a little bit better quality. And Copenhagen is also a great place to go for flea markets. And Sweden, they have them as well. Loppis, right? Yeah. And flea markets are also like they'll have big bins of things that you can kind of sort through. So definitely, I have had friends that have come to visit me here that are like, we're going to Copenhagen for the vintage shopping. And they found some really, really nice pieces. So if you're into that, if you're a fashionista, Copenhagen is definitely a good place to check.
Yes. It sounds like there really is a lot of options out there.
So many.
I am super interested to hear what tips you have for finding those hidden gems while you're thrifting.
I think if you're someone like me who doesn't like to spend too much time going to shop, like going to a store and buying something new, bring a friend who might enjoy this activity. It's crazy because there are people who have the eye for it, and recognizing it just makes you feel better. And also it's a nice thing to do with friends, I think. So let's say, in most cases, you would say, oh, I'm not sure if that would fit me. Oh, I don't know if my color is. I don't know if it works with my eyes.
Yeah.
But then you have these friends say, what about this? And that changes the whole world because you just didn't see it. Because there's so many things inside the shop. And you have different hangers, let's say, and different sections. So someone will see something that you will never see.
Yeah.
And of course, different people see different things with a different eyes. Yeah, the more, literally, the more the merrier. So yeah, and also I would say it's all about there's no such thing as a hidden gem. I mean, if you want something and if you think you will like it, it's good enough, So maybe you found it yourself and you'll be happy with it because you know that you did a good deal, basically.
Yeah,
and yeah.
I would say for me, it's really about going in with a mission. Like if I'm just going, it's very rarely that I can go in and just kind of float around and be like, that's nice. That's nice. I really have to go. Like it has to be a treasure hunt for me. Like I have to say, I need a red dress to become lobster. And then like, maybe I'll find something along the way that I really like. But for me, if I go in with a plan, maybe then I'll find things along the way that I like. But it's also, there was a quote that a secondhand seller had like at a flea market, and it said like, there's no bigger regret than the vintage that you didn't buy. And I ended up buying a sweater from her because I was like, that's fair. And it's so true. Like if you see something that you like here, like in a window or something, oh, I really like that little Christmas star. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow after class and get it. It will be gone. So if you like something and it's in your budget, buy it because that's thrifting, and it's a one of a kind piece most of the time that you will not be able to find again.
Yeah, that's the uniqueness of it. It's that it's maybe it was a model that was around maybe 10 years ago.
Yep.
So there's very little chances that someone else would have the exact same model in your neighborhood, I think.
Yeah. So if you find something you like, hold it up, check it for holes. But most of the things in Sweden are very clean. Like, I think most of the thrift stores actually clean the things that they get, which is cool. Yeah. It's not like that in the States. And just be open to maybe some brands that you're not aware of. If you see something that looks like really good quality, sometimes just to convince myself, I go look it up online and go like, aha, this is selling for like 150 euros on eBay. So I got to take it for 20.
I got a Fjällräven jacket for like 200 crowns.
Yep.
Maybe. And it should be, right? I see your reaction. It should be more expensive than that, basically. So yeah, I was very proud of that. And I just didn't know the brand. I just, winter jacket.
You're living in Sweden. Come on.
But yeah.
For those who don't know, Fjällräven is like the premier outdoor gear brand.
I did not know that.
Really, really high quality, but you can pay a lot for those things.
The iconic Swedish backpack.
Exactly. And there's one, right here in Lund, which people love as well. But how does the quality of the secondhand items compare to the quality of new items?
Yes. If I can take away. The only thing I can say is, well, depending on your height or your, how you look, I'm quite short.
Bénédicte is a little bit shorter than me.
Compared to the Swedish standards, which means that many things in most thrift shops would be a bit too big for me. Mm-hmm. So I can look a bit funny in all my jackets, but you know what? It's about protecting for winter. Mm-hmm. And so it's difficult to find something that fits perfectly, I think, especially if different, heights and sizes, especially if you come from a different country. But at the same time, you will find something that's close enough.
Yeah.
And to me personally, for me, it reduces the essence of clothing to its basic use of just giving warmth to the body. So it's not so much about being fashionable.
I'm of a different opinion.
I know. And the Swedish winter, my first Swedish winter gave me this perspective. And secondhand shopping helped in that way because it's about just giving warmth to your body.
And just not dying in the snow.
Not dying in the snow. And it can be for at a lower cost.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's for me.
Yeah. For me, it's something like something that I noticed that I really liked because, like I said, in the States, like I'm holding something up, I'm looking through every single stitch to make sure that there's no holes and they're not charging me, ridiculous amounts of money. But in Sweden, like for example, in Björkefrihet, my favorite in Malmö, if there's a hole that they've seen, they mark it down. They say it very clearly on the tag, like like whole left shoulder, so that you know where to find it, you can see what it is. And in Sweden, there is this culture of care. So like I've noticed people my age or even younger, men and women, all know how to like sew, basic sewing skills, and know how to mend things. And so if it's a piece that they really like, they will invest in it. And even if it's got like that hole, they A, get a discount on it, and B, they'll go home and fix it up so that they can keep it forever. And like, that's the thing. Thrifting can go either way. Like it can be I need something right now so that I'm not like slipping around in the ice and freezing my fingers off. Or it can be like wow, this is beautiful. This almost looks like a sweater my grandmother was wearing in her ski photos. I want this and I want to pass it down to my children. Well, like it can, which I don't find those pieces in the States. I find them all the time in Sweden. So like even then you'll find some things that are a little more expensive than what you'd expect at a thrift store, like $70, 70 euros, 850 crowns.
So there were thrift stores already in the US.
Of course. Yeah, but they're gross. So they're different.
On that note, how does, you've already mentioned it, both of you a little bit, but how does secondhand shopping compare here in Sweden to your home country?
You should take that.
It's I've been thrifting since I was little. Like it was a bonding activity for my grandmother and I. We would go. I'd buy like fluorescent purple pants. I was an odd child, but like, but it's been part of me for a long time. And even like for homecoming, prom, and all of that, which are very important things in the U.S. culture, I thrifted all of my dresses. Like it was a big part of growing up, and I've seen a change, especially with the emergence of places like Depop and things where you'll go to a thrift store and you have people just with their carts full and they're reselling them for insane prices. So it's difficult to find anything in person now. It's less of a treasure hunt and more of like sifting through Shein and trash. which has been really sad to see. So coming to Sweden and giving it another go, it was like it's a lagom culture. Lagom is this idea of not too much, not too little. They're not going to like take everything because they can put it in their cart. Like they're taking what they want. I haven't seen that many resellers, which means that every time I go to the thrift store, I at least see some things that I'm like, these are crazy good quality. I can't believe nobody's picked them up. But then even though I know I could pick them up and probably resell them, I'm not going to, because that's not the culture. Like it's leave it for the person who will really love it.
And who needs it, I think.
Yeah.
So for me, I was impressed from the very start because I haven't seen any concept like that in Mauritius. The only secondhand I experienced was, let's say, my mom having a T-shirt that doesn't fit.
And now it's yours.
Exactly. No, seriously. And well, it was, I guess, more family-based. But yeah, for me, when I understand the concept of secondhand, I use it myself. It just inspires a culture even of circular economy and of reducing consumption. So it's, as you said, let's say I buy something, whether at a thrift store or somewhere, and there's a hole in it, well, I can just mend it myself. I don't need to buy something new at the smallest inconvenience. And that's something where Sweden, Lund, definitely, like my experience in university, encouraged students to rethink, what about your consumption? What about your imprint or your footprint on the world in general? So, and how can you reduce that? Clothing is a good way. Don't buy new things if there's something already existing.
On that note, it does encourage circular living to shop and buy things secondhand. So how does this culture of secondhand shopping fit into Swedish culture and lifestyle?
Yeah, I mean, you've mentioned, look, it's I don't, for me, the way I explain it, let's say if I need to explain it to my parents and my family, and we don't have secondhand in Mauritius, the way I see it is, it's a society that has been working so well for so long, and it just continues like that. And there's no need to bring new in every aspect of your life. And it's just believing that what's a bit older is good enough for generations. And even if, let's say for me, I can't wear this particular item anymore, or I can't use this set of cups because I'm moving houses, well, someone else will need it. And I think this is, my experience of Sweden is that everyone in a way cares about some identity elsewhere, because you might not know every member of society, but you care about the concept of society in general. So there's it's very strong glue tying society together, I would say.
I'm like experiencing some weird reverse culture shock because I've been here for over a year now and I haven't gone home yet. And so now like I'm watching all these things online, for example, like the Stanley Cup trend, which I'm a Hydro Flask girly, which is a Pacific Northwest thing, but like Stanley Cups went crazy online.
No one else got that.
No, we don't have a reference.
Bénédicte, can you get
these are water bottle brands. Okay. And that's the thing. The fact that in the States, which water bottle you use means so much, and that one year you might be using another one. And these are like quality $60 water bottles made of metal that could last your whole life, theoretically.
Yes.
But like talking to my Swedish friends and them being like, what the heck is going on with the Stanley Cup? Like people have 30 of them. That is not the Swedish way at all. Like it's impossible to reconcile with this sort of lifestyle, because even in, like I mentioned before, Swedes have a stereotype of dressing a little bit darker, a little bit more subdued. And that's because they're dressing in timeless pieces. You go into a Swedish apartment, you see things that are maybe mid-century modern. They might have gotten them from their grandparents and they're going to give them to their kids, and they're not outdated. Like there's no, it's things are a little bit more timeless. And also this sort of Swedish belief, I think it's allemansrätten, like the right to the land. Like this belief that public areas are for everyone, and this community building that I feel is really special to Sweden. Mm-hmm. Like even if you want to borrow things and not buy them, there's a culture for it. Like we have what's the place that you can borrow like bedding from for the year? Circle Center. Yeah, Circle Center is a place that if you're an exchange student or anyone, you can rent out for like 100 crowns or $10 for a year, all of the bedding you need.
We've done an episode with them.
Nice.
Yep, scroll back in the feed and you can listen to that one.
Love them.
Yeah.
Or there's, where's the place that you can rent all of like the ski gear and stuff downtown?
Yeah, it's called Fritidsbanken.
Yeah, like there's a whole shop where you can borrow like sports gear and stuff. And the idea behind it is just like, you should be able to give this a try without having to invest a ton of money.
Yes.
Did you talk with them too? Yeah.
I mean, you can get skis, they could even power drills. And their whole philosophy is like, and Circle Center as well, like most expensive like tools and things that you buy, you only use for like 15 minutes a year.
Yeah.
So why buy the expensive power drill when you can just borrow it and use it for 15 minutes and give it back?
And there's this trust, this communal trust where they know they'll give you this power drill and you'll bring it back. Like, it's not going to sit in your student apartment.
So it sounds like if you're an international student, you don't need that much money to do a lot of awesome things and buy a lot of nice clothes to stay warm just in the winter, to look fresh in the summer. You can get access to all those things at truly on a budget and affordable price.
Exactly.
That's good news.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's some people listening out there that haven't gone secondhand shopping before. So what advice would you give to new students who are trying secondhand shopping for the first time?
I think the first tip I've received myself was to mingle with Swedish students or people who've been here before, because they would know where to go. They would know where not to go at places which would cost more money So it's a genuine help that they would give to say, oh, you need to go to specific secondhand. Oh, but what is a secondhand store? Where are they? Like, they don't, it's not the name of a shop.
Yeah.
Like, how can I look for more? So then this is when they can say, okay, I can look for you, like in Swedish. And you just need a few names at start and you just go there. And then you go somewhere else, you take a train to Malmö and say, oh, this is a secondhand store? Wow. That's so nice.
For me, it's like, don't be demoralized. It's just like any other shopping. Sometimes you go and you're looking for a jacket or something and you don't find something and you're not like, I'm never going to go shopping again. Forget them all. Like, you go back the next week and you see, or the next season. But same thing, like thrift stores are constantly putting out new materials, most of the time every day, but definitely once per week, like a big shift of what they have out on the front. So like, if you don't find something, you can go back to another store or the same store and maybe you'll find it the next week.
Yeah. And just to convince those who are a bit more reluctant to try, just compare the prices then. Because if you go to a secondhand store in Lund or Malmö, then you go to a shop or like something with first-hand items, you will see the difference in pricing.
Once you start thrifting, it's hard to go back to buying things new.
And then if you understand the philosophy of it behind it's really...
And also, that just off the top of my head reminds me, I know a lot of people do clothes swaps as well, which is just like basically getting together with your friends and trading clothes. And that's also a fantastic way to get some new pieces without even paying a single cent.
The Nations put on some of those a few times a year. Yeah.
There is options everywhere. Do you have anything else you would like to add before we wrap up?
I could keep talking about this forever, so no. I'll stop here for the sake of the length of this podcast.
Just come to Sweden and get embraced with the culture and just do things that we Swedes do.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you both so much for your time today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Lund University International Podcast. If you're interested in learning more about Lund University, you can go to our website, lunduniversity.lu.se. You can also follow us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and X. And you can connect with our amazing student ambassadors on Unibuddy. Don't forget to subscribe, and we look forward to bringing you a new episode very soon.